Casper, we're here at ISPOR US 2026. You gave a presentation along with a panel of experts on most favored nation. I wanted to talk a little bit about this. What is this and where does it come from?
It's a very good question indeed, Chris. I think it's an element or a concept that was already thought of in the first Trump administration, and it didn't get really far by then. However, now in the second administration, the whole idea of most favored nation has got a lot of traction. And the basic idea behind it is that the Trump administration wants that the U.S. patients don't pay more than other countries do in a comparable situation. So like countries that have a similar GDP. And then what is the background for this is that he also has seen that, I think rightfully, you see that in the U.S. up to 4 or 5 times the prices are higher for patients than they are in the rest of the world. And I think the administration, and it's a little bit, I think that yesterday somebody said it was interesting, it's only 53 weeks ago, although the concept is older, as I said, but 53 weeks ago, the Trump administration had the executive order initiating MFN. And since then, in only a year, a lot of things have happened, ranging from setting up individual deals with bigger pharma companies, in total 17, where they agree to put certain existing products in the U.S. market to MFN prices, so comparing it to 8 countries of comparable income across the world. Also, a commitment for all future launches to be at that price level. And these were voluntary agreements, but next to that, the administration worked with CMS to set up kind of pilot projects called Generous, Globe, and CAR to even expand it further. So it's quite impressive to see what's happening in only a year. The whole concept got traction and things set in motion. And it also means that due to this, the prices across the world are now kind of connected. This is called also, it's more the concept of reference pricing, international reference pricing, which was already used in Europe and many other countries around the world to kind of balance price between countries. And this is exactly the same thinking that's now being connected to the US. And there's only there's a bit of a dual implication. It could mean like if you want to balance out prices, it means either US prices go down or European prices have to go up. And I think if you listen carefully also to people around the White House, it seems more that they're now looking for European countries, especially to raise their prices, to contribute a little bit more also to the pharmaceutical innovation. And I think you can, if you want to make it easy, I think you can compare it a bit to what happened with the contribution to NATO, to defense, where the U.S. also made, I think, a fair point that the U.S. was contributing way more, a higher percentage of their GDP to NATO than other countries were. European countries decided also to step up there. And this is probably true now also for pharmaceutical innovation. It's like the US is paying more than their fair share for pharmaceutical innovation. So I think the whole point is now, and I think this is the concept that pharmaceutical companies are trying to discuss already for many years, I think, in Europe, that the value of innovation needs to be better recognized, meaning also that in a number of cases prices need to go up. And I think MFN has now accelerated that.
So there's a bit where this may have been overdue.
Yeah, I think it is. And that's also why you hear many pharmaceutical companies and the CEOs speaking up, like talking to European governments, like, guys, this is the moment for Europe to do step up. Otherwise, there's a risk of losing out of innovation. And unfortunately, that's also what we're now already starting to see happening mainly in Europe. And I talk a lot about Europe because there are 8 countries being referenced, and 6 out of them are European countries. So that's where there's quite a significant impact. But to kind of avoid or postpone the referencing to lower price in Europe and unclarity around a number of the MFN policies still, we see many pharmaceutical companies at the moment delaying their launches. And we get a lot of signals from individual companies. There are news items about it. There are data elements showing it. And that's getting a real impact. That means that European patients won't have access to medicines that will be available in the US. But And these are probably not easy decisions because I don't think there's any pharmaceutical company that doesn't want to launch their product either in Europe or Japan, Japan being one of the other big reference countries. However, at the moment that your U.S. revenue, which was presented yesterday as well, for many companies is 60-70% of their income. If you put that at risk by launching in Europe or Japan and you can't get the right price, you put your revenue in the U.S. at stake. And so it's really, and that means patients are waiting or losing out, but it's a tough decision. But it's, I think, what I call a bit economics versus ethical.
Yeah. Because of the actual economic situation caused by this, patients may be losing out.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate. And I don't think any pharmaceutical company wants to do it. Of course. However, most of them are stock-listed companies with shareholders. There are economics behind it, and you need to make these trade-offs. And harming 60-70% of your income, that's probably non-explainable in economic terms. So that's. And I think these are terrible decisions. And when I speak to clients in the pharmaceutical industry, this keeps them up awake at night because it's not what you want to do, but you have to do it. And
That's a good point. So we understand there's an economic reality that's making this something that needs to be addressed, but it's impacting patients. At this point, what should pharmaceutical companies do? What steps should they be taking?
Yeah, there are a number of things to do indeed, and A is really indeed think carefully about your launch sequencing. And that's not per se that I'm saying I want to advocate for postponing launches, but really smartly think, okay, what could be a good order that you still maintain the right price in every part? Another part, I think, is also more what I said. It's like the world is now more connected. Previously, pricing was more like a US element and the rest of the world. And now with the connectiveness, I think what they need to do is also make clear that they build a stronger internal governance so that you kind of align your prices globally. Another element is, I think, what is really critical is that pharmaceutical companies need to step up in generating their evidence packages. Because to the point that they make, they want European countries to recognize the value better. That means from the pharmaceutical side, they can even demonstrate your value better. And that means, again, and you demonstrate value by evidence. So really making sure that you have evidence in place that is fit for purpose to drive or support higher prices in Europe. And I think a final element, which is really critical, is that, and that's mainly in the national level in the countries, pharmaceutical companies, either alone or together by industry associations, really need to start partnering with healthcare stakeholders to see if there's a way to increase the spending on pharmaceuticals indeed. And you can only solve that together. So it's an excellent time to start partnering. And especially that last part is more than ever critical because at the moment we see quite big tensions between the industry and local governments. So I would encourage everybody to team up and partner them.